Okay, I don't normally do this, but I feel like this will bless somebody. So I want to read you our devotional for today. We're talking about Enoch. I find the story of Enoch quite interesting, that all that is recorded about his genealogy is explained in one line. He walked with God. That's all. And when we read about him again in the book of Hebrews, the Bible says that by faith he walked with God. And what makes this interesting is because he's listed in the Hall of Faith as a man who walked with God amongst other people whose life had more details. Their lives were richer, their life had a lot more drama and a lot more explanation. David, for example, was a mighty man of valor, a warrior. His story is littered in the Bible. Abraham and Sarah and their faith is recorded, and they are the patriarchs of our faith. Rahab, she was a prostitute, but at least she did something. She saved the spies, and her act of faith is recorded. But all that is said about him is that he walked with God. No drama. Of course, we know that he lived life, so obviously he would have had a wife and had children. And when we read about him again in the book of Jude, they tell us that he was a prophet. But none of this is recorded. We don't get all of the details of this man's life because the part that mattered to God was that he walked with him. And he did so by faith. And this is very important for us to know, because sometimes we're so focused in doing. We want to be the mighty man of valor. We want to be the one that others write stories about. We want to be the one that they make movies about. We want to be the one that they tag in all the posts, the ones that people quote. We want to be the one that people share our videos and talk about us over and over again. We want to be that one. And yes, it's not like this life is not rich. This kind of life can still be pleasing to God. But we cannot neglect the fact that you can have all of this, and at the end of the day, what will be recorded is what mattered to God, which are the things that you did by faith. God will account for you the part of your life that you lived at the center of his will, doing what he asked you to do and believing in him. So you might be living your life at the center of God's will, and you don't have the attention and the accolades, and there's not much story written about you. I know of pastors and preachers who are in the village doing things and changing people's life, but not everybody knows their name because they don't have the theatrics and nobody has time to write their story. But that doesn't mean that their lives are not going to be accounted before God. Enoch's life was pleasing to God because he did what God asked him to do. He walked with God. His relationship with God, his communion with God was basically all that we know that he accomplished. And on his tombstone, if he had died, would have been a man of faith that walked with God. That is a great legacy that anybody can leave. Leave all the theatrics, because at the end of the day, if God cannot say you walked with him, you don't have an eternity with him. Thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button for more, and to read today's devotional, click the link in my bio or go to the website displaying right now on your screen.